everybody. I want to welcome here Saturday, December 5th, 2015. My apologies if my voice cuts out. As long as I don't cough, I've actually pulled off a small miracle. So today was a big day. It was Skylanders Day at GameStop. They had the buy one, get one free. Starter pack prices are slashed. Prices in general are slashed. Essentially, the popular belief in reality is likely the game has just not sold like the previous games have. So, needless to say, if you held out, this is a great time to cash in, and I guess patience is a virtue. Now, to that note, I was actually able to land Nightfall and Mistletoe Dive Clops. One of them was free. Take your pick. I'll go with the Holiday All-Deco Dive Clops there. So that was good news. Actually, I had a lot of good news from GameStop today, and we'll get to that later on tonight, possibly. But something else that I did, I told you that we took a look at all three of these last night, actually. Boomer, Ghost Roaster, and Dino Ring. I told you the Elite number 3, if you go in order of release, was Slam Bam, and that he was on his way. And last I knew, he had mysteriously rerouted himself from Ohio eastbound, even though he needs to go south and west. And I did a little something. I usually have this stuff shipped to work, and what'll happen every time is that it shows up at the post office, and it takes like 2 days for the post office to get it to me. Not on the weekend. This could show up at the post office on Tuesday, and where you would think I would either have it Tuesday or Wednesday at the latest, I get it Friday, and it never fails. And so what I did with these two shipments on the Elites is I just said, screw it, we're going to ship to the post office box. And that's what I did, and that is why we have Elite Slam Bam. Now, had we have done my traditional method, I wouldn't have had this guy theoretically until Monday, but knowing the way the post office does things, probably Wednesday. Although, since I wanted it, they probably would have rejected it, sent it back to Ohio, and then I might have gotten it the 20th of December, maybe. That's about how things go. But this is a very, very cool pose. Cannot wait to check it out outside of the packaging. $21.99 is the price. Again, I got this on the Toys R Us sale. Buy one, get one, or not buy one, get one, but actually spend $40, get $20 off with Elites. Since they're $21.99 a piece, that basically you buy two, you get the second one for $1.99 essentially. So average it out, your net total per figure is roughly $12. Not a bad price to pay for an Elite. In my opinion, they should honestly be like $14.99. $19.99 would be acceptable. I think they would move a lot more, but that's lower the price point, the more you will actually sell. So here it is Elite Slam Bam again. This is why I leave these characters in the box. I absolutely love the box itself, not the display case. I'm a fan of that too. But the box itself is actually very cool in my opinion. So, if you're not familiar with Eon's Elites from last go around, or the 5 that we have showcased here in Skylanders Superchargers era, Eon's Elite are the selected few that have displayed courage and bravery against all odds. Kind of some highlights for them. Fully upgraded toy figures, max character level. Again, that has been somewhat controversial amongst the purist and hardcore players. 3 times more powerful, that is pretty much a verbatim. Rest assured, we will test those numbers in our Skylanders research series because no one else will. So we kind of pick up the burdens of the world there. 3D diorama collector case, which again, this is how most people that get the Elites tend to display them. You've got, like the just total OCD collector, that they get the box and they like wipe fingerprints off and put it on a shelf and that's that. And then you got the people that are like, cool, and they take it out and it's pretty much, this is kind of what they intend you to do. Some people probably pull them out of the case, throw the case away, and just have loose Elites. I know because they have been traded in that manner. So what I do though is I actually like the box itself. So I kind of keep them, we pull it apart pretty much all the way down, and then we kind of put it back together, and that's the way I prefer to keep them. So I do have some loose Elites, but those are my doubles. So right here though, the other characters: Elite Voodoo, Elite Zook, Elite Ghost Roaster, Elite Dino Ring, and Elite Boomer. So let's go ahead. This is always the tricky part. When these come in virgin packed, for whatever reason, they never have this cardboard flap tucked against the cardboard. They put it inside the plastic, so take your time here, particularly if you don't have fingernails. This was actually the smoothest one has gone for me this entire Elite go-around. So we'll chuck that aside. Oh, there were 2 of them. Did you see that? I have to prove this. Maybe that's why it came out easier. I don't know. Maybe this Slam Bam is extra special. But generally, there's just one of these things. The little instruction sheet. So we got two. It's kind of like when you get animal crackers and there's like that weird combination that's just glued together. But then every once in a while, you get a combination that could theoretically happen. You know, like the bird on top of the rhinoceros. You know, and then on this side of the rhino, there's like some other, you know, like a zebra. And it sort of looks like, you know, you could position, I don't know. Long story there. If you've eaten a lot of animal crackers like I have, or cookies, some people, you never know. Are they cookies or are they crackers? But you see some cool things, you see some interesting stuff, so that's all that matters. Right here, what matters is this epic figure we were looking at, which is Elite Slam Bam. Slam Bam remains one of my nephew's favorite Skylander characters. I haven't pulled him with the new Supercharger stuff, but I think Freeze Blade, if he didn't overtake Slam Bam, he's like right up there with him, but 1 and 2 for him, Freeze Blade and Slam Bam. So this is Slam Bam. This is a very cool pose. If you're not familiar with Slam Bam, unlike these other Castaway characters, he falls into the realm with Zook. Okay, so Boomer, Ghost Roaster, Dino Ring, Voodoo, all those guys have been dormant since their original SSA days. They've never come back. Not Legendary, not Light Core, not Series 2, 3, 4, nothing. They've just been cast away for perpetual everness, if you will. Zook, as you might recall, he was an SSA original, came back with a very sweet pose in Skylanders Giants. Same can be said for Slam Bam. We'll take a look at those here in a little bit. But essentially he had Series 1, Series 2, and then he just kind of disappeared. So good to see him back. I was always a huge fan. If you watch some of the like battle mode stuff my nephew and I do, the vast majority of it came down to Terrafin and Slam Bam. Or if we're just freelancing, I'm Terrafin, he's Slam Bam. We duke it out and see what happens. So lots of good memories with Mr. Slam Bam. Never disappoints me. Very, very versatile character. Essentially, Blizzard Brawler, I believe, was the path name. It's kind of like his melee path. The coolest thing about it, I shouldn't say coolest in this case, but the best thing about that path, in my opinion, just like Dino Ring, when you went Blizzard Brawler, you got the plus 40 on the armor, and that's what you see him wearing here, like the spiked shields and everything. That's not Soul Gem related. That's the armor upgrade in Blizzard Brawler. If you take the other path, which, what was it called? Cannot think. Wow Pow Slay Me. Soul Gem, Yeti Cooling Factor. What is the other path? Can't think of the name for some reason. I had it in my head earlier, but it's essentially where you upgrade the ice prisms, right? Which are pretty dadgum cool, not gonna lie. Chill, also a very unique Skylander. Kind of borrowed similar elements. Don't really think she was ever fully appreciated, though. That said, Slam Bam right here. Two things that you, well, three really. This is a Slam Bam that would be down Blizzard Brawler because of the armor that you can see. Number two, it is a Slam Bam that is equipped with the Soul Gem Yeti Cooling Factor. That's basically the visor. And it was kind of one of those Soul Gems that was sort of pointless. But it is what it is. And then the sled, that's where he kind of upgrades his like little slide tertiary type attack. It becomes Slay Me, his Wow Pow as a Series 2 figure. So very, very nice look with the water element. Again, that's a perfect complement of colors in my opinion. The dark blue with the playful, you know, kind of ice blue, coupled with that silver, which again can be reflective in the right light. Very, very nice. Some of the characters it blends in, some of it the silver clashes. It looks perfect, at least in my opinion, on this blue water element backdrop. So what we will do now is push right here where it says push, and we're going to free him from his little plastic prison real quick. There is the water element backdrop. Again, very, very cool. It looks again like we've just recently entered a water element gate and maybe placed in a different Skylander, something along those lines. Maybe your Series 5 Gilgrunt is maxed out and you needed to go back to Zap or something, I don't know. But very cool nonetheless on the background there. We'll set that down. And here it is. We've kind of covered it already, but the visors, that again comes from the Soul Gem Yeti Cooling Factor. They are actually coated with the same metallic paint. In the case, it kind of looked like reflective, almost like a real, you know, sunglass or shield would look. It's actually the same paint that you see here on the sleigh. So very cool combination there. It actually, again, in the case, in person, short of like having it right here, it looks reflective. So that's very, very well done in my opinion. Pretty aggressive pose and playful this time because he's got the number 1 up. It's like he just won some sledding competition or snow cone eating contest, something along those lines. You can see the chest plate there. It does have a water element logo, or it should. I can't really tell for sure. But coming around to the back, same thing here. He's equipped with the armor, the spiked shoulder pad, sort of 80s, rocker type vibe going on. The water element base, it is gold. As you should know by now, I'm not a fan of gold. This would have looked really, really nice with like a metallic blue water, even a silver, but he is an elite. That is the formula they use. Whatever the base element, it gets coated in gold, and then the little bottom end piece for the elites is clear. So sticking to the formula here, can't really fault that, but I'm just saying, get like a really nice like royal metallic blue, load it down with metal flake or sparkles like that, and it would look killer. If fun's allowed, I would have a second Slam Bam and we would do that. So that's about that though. I mean, that's what we can say here. If you were to free this guy from this case, you get that in the bottom. No card, no sticker sheet, nothing. That really frustrates me with the elites. The case is cool, the figure pose are cool, the things they've done to them are cool. I want these guys to be truly special, truly top of the line. We at least need the sticker sheet to follow protocol in Superchargers. In my opinion, they should have a better than average card, you know, kind of like a metallic or holographic card. Possibly even, and I've said this quite a bit with standard unboxings, not necessarily the elites, but if Battlecast is coming, why not include a Battlecast card? And sort of, then, you know, you're going to have people with a whole deck of Battlecast cards that are more likely to play the game without making any standalone purchases. And that is what would get them hooked and then go and make the standalone purchases trying to complete decks or get better cards, etc. Not sure the logic there. I don't know if they just didn't have the time to do it, but I do truly believe the elites should have maintained the stack cards. It was just, it's kind of the complete package in my opinion. So we haven't covered that recently. But what we will cover real quick before we do our Slam Bam Comparo is going to be his background story. Again, originally in SSA, he was one of the 4 Adventure Pack characters, which those are some of the greatest characters of all time to date. We had Sunburn and Dragon's Peak. Then we had the Empire of Ice. This is like reverse chronological order for you. Empire of Ice with Slam Bam. And then both available at launch, which Toys R Us gave them away on launch day originally in 2011. People still don't believe that, but I was there and capitalized on it. You could take your pick of Pirate Seas with Terrafin or, believe it or not, the Darklight Crypt with Ghost Roaster. So those two both available at launch. January, February-ish, we had the Empire of Ice, and then sometime, when was it? Was it Easter or a little bit later? That's when Dragon's Peak with Sunburn dropped. So why do I remember these dates? I don't know. I truly don't, but for whatever reason I do. And so I guess it's for moments like these, because that's about the only time it'll come in handy. But nonetheless, the biography for Slam Bam, very cool. You see what we did there? We were punny. Slam Bam lived alone on a floating glacier in a remote region of Skylands, where he spent his time ice surfing. That's one of the things. I brought this up in the past, but I would have loved to have seen a surfboard instead of a sleigh. Doesn't really tie in since the Wow Pow was Slay Me, but SSA and a little bit into Giants, like the elemental abilities were very, very much a part of the character. All the water element Skylanders were critical if you wanted to cross water, unless you could fly. Flying Skylanders, it tied in more and more. Obviously, water being the most blazingly apparent. I thought it would have been cool if he had the surfboard and he could go across the water to make it ice, and then like your, I don't know, earth element buddies could like tag along and co-op behind you on your ice bridge that lasts a little while. Just a thought, just throwing it out there. But the dash attack, the charge attacks, I am a fan of, so, you know, Slay Me is okay. But it's a video game. We still could have done the surfboard. It would have been a little bit cooler. So that's just my take. Nonetheless, he spent his time ice surfing, eating snow cones, and sculpting amazing ice statues. That sounds familiar. It should, because it's one of his base abilities. It was a peaceful life, that is, until chaos destroyed the glacier, stranding Slam Bam on an iceberg that drifted through the skies for days. He awoke on Eon's Island. That sounds like it should have its own theme song. I would try to sing it, but again, I'm fighting losing my voice here. So, where he was taken in and trained to become a Skylander. Now his ice sculptures serve as a frosty prison for any evildoer that gets in his way. So, a very cool background story there, and that brings us to the portion of the video where I tell you there is a pole battle, a brand new pole battle. I haven't even created it yet. You're hearing about it before it exists. And it's going to be pretty simple. It's going to be the Slam Bam Pose Apocalypse. And it's going to be simple. Which do you prefer? The pose here with Elite Slam Bam, which granted, these guys kind of have, you know, a little bit of an edge here with all the extras and special paint. But, going back to his roots, this guy right here, SSA Original, how do you know that? Because of the green base. This is Slam Bam as he was seen in his Empire of Ice days. Very basic, and what was cool about him though, he was a clear translucent blue. Very, very neat. Black claws, white. The paint on him varied greatly. Some people had horrible jobs. This one's actually pretty good, especially as much as he has been used over the years. But again, this is Series 1 SSA Slam Bam. Series 2, which I say this all the time, and it's because I mean it. This is Series 2 Slam Bam, that of course being Skylanders Giants. You can verify by the orange base. Giants had some of the greatest poses that the game has seen, in my opinion. And it's probably because they're characters I'm really fond of, but if you go in and just look at the orange base characters in a store, in trade-in bags at GameStop, online, whatever, I think you have to agree with me. There's some really good reposes there. So, pretty cool stuff. But again, there's the armor, which was a nice touch in my opinion. That is not a water element logo. That's just like a riveted piece there. So, could have sworn he had one. Maybe that's in-game or something. Anyway, it seems like it should be there, right? I mean, we've seen other characters with the medallions. It seemed like... Could have sworn it was water. I guess not. Anyway, this is Series 2 Slam Bam. So what you need to do, down below I'll have a link. It'll be the very first thing in the video description box. You can also just go to SkylanderClub.com, scroll down to the polls and discussion tab, and when you do that, you can click there. You will see all kinds of polls you can vote in. Frightful Fiesta versus Fiesta, Legendary Showdowns, things of that nature. With the Elites, we're doing the pose battles, which again, do you like SSA? Series 1 Slam Bam right here, kind of shaking in the left hand, shaking in the right hand, Series 2 Slam Bam, or they're centered in the middle. Eon's Elite Slam Bam. You can vote. Anyone can vote. You don't have to be a registered member to vote. So take time, cast your vote, spread the word, get your friends to vote. Try to pull. If you're honest to gosh think this is the best pose of Slam Bam, vote for it, spread the word, do your best to rally the troops around that cause. Again, free. If you want to elaborate on why this is the greatest Slam Bam pose of all time, you can either do that here on the video, or you can sign up on the forum if you haven't already. I'll activate your account and you can ramble as much as you would like to, stating why this is in fact the best Slam Bam pose. So, this to me is classic Slam Bam. I give it an edge over the Series 1. It's pretty aggressive too. If this was a surfboard, hands down, I would cast my vote this way. I'll narrow it down to these two as my personal selections. Let me know how that matches up with you. But again, Series 1, Series 2, or Elite, cast your vote. And again, we're going to do super clickbait here because we're having to compete with cross-promotion from evil third-party YouTube networks. So this is what the world comes to. And this is actually legitimate. It's not computer-generated. It's not fake. It's actually in the video, in my hands, in front of the pool table. But it does make a pretty cool thumbnail. So ordinarily, we would just do that. But hey, we've got it, so let's flaunt it, right? But that is that. What I want to do now, before we reseal him for display and play purposes, because once again, if you're worried about, oh, I don't want to open this to play with it, you don't have to. Boomer right here, I could take him, throw him on the portal. It reads through the case, through the bottom, through the box. Everything's fine. It's not like an amiibo. So if you pick these up and you don't even want to fathom opening them, they're still 100% functional. So very cool stuff there. Let's go ahead and snap this back into place. And I'll drop this in. Last thing I want to do here is just kind of recap the entire Elite lineup for you. So if we can get him to drop in as easily as he partially came out, we should be golden. The battery light is flashing. Trying to make this happen for you. Let's see here. That actually went fairly smooth, I must say. So, again, if you're wanting to see the introductions, the upgrades, gameplay on these guys, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Those videos will be coming. They are a priority. Yes, even over and above the unboxings of brand new characters like Splat, Big Bubble Pop Fizz, Nightfall. She's technically not brand new, but you know what I mean. And Mistletoe Dive Clop. So, we're going to pull these beloved SSA castaways real quick. And going in order of release, it was Voodoo that came first, right? I think. I know these were the first two regardless. So here we go. Elite number 1, and there's only 6 for reasons unknown to me. It is Elite Voodoo from the Magic Elements. Then we have got Elite Zook from the Life Element. Again, he and Slam Bam are the only elites that didn't just be castawayed after SSA. So they have actually 3 poses now that we need to factor in. Then number 3 was Slam Bam, even though he came to us last. Good things come to those who wait, right? So that's your elite number 3. Those were released on Sunday, Fun Day type deal. Everyone assumed that these 3 would follow suit on up into Christmas. They did not. November 29th rolled around and there they were. They just threw them all down at us. So going alphabetically, you've got Boomer from the Tech Element, Dino Ring from the Earth Elements, and then of course the Ghost with the most, Ghost Roaster from the Undead Element. Again, my personal hope, and I say this trying to get the word out, is simply Activision comes in and either around New Year's or Valentine's Day or the Super Bowl, St. Patrick's Day, I don't really care when they do it, spring break, I would like to see them come to the fans, throw up polls on Twitter, Facebook, Google+, Instagram if they have to use that horrible site, whatever they have to do, even just take it all back to Skylanders.com and have it there and just ask the fans, what Skylander would you like to see in the air element, even if they narrow it down? Maybe it's Warnado versus Lightning Rod. Maybe they slap in Jet Vac. I don't care really. Just as long as they at least give us the option for Warnado and Lightning Rod. And then in the Fire Element do the same thing and let fans vote. Because it truly boggles my mind that we only get 6 elites here. And I'm not wanting to spend another $40 or even $24 if we get a promotion like this. It's just I don't understand why Air and Fire didn't get elites. It's just I still haven't figured it out. It makes no sense to me personally. And these elites, they're not given to me. They're not shipped in from California. I go out and I buy all of these. All the 2... I think maybe the very first elite they sent out, but I've bought all the others and I bought duplicates last time. And so I say this as like a true hardcore fan, a dedicated player. I've been doing this for 4 years. I want an Air and Fire Element elite. It makes sense that Fire would be Sunburn, since we've kind of gone with all these other castaways, Voodoo, Boomer, Ghost Roaster, Dino Ring, etc. Air, technically following that format, should be Warnado. I know he had a light core, but that doesn't give him a wow pow. He would benefit so greatly from a wow pow. Lightning Rod I would also take for the simple fact it would make perfect sense with the Cloud Kingdom levels here in Skylanders Superchargers, but the chances of that happening are probably like, 1 in a million, but I would, if they don't do it it's something I think they should consider doing, like Skylander 6 comes out and they're going to repose 1 character per element. Maybe they have their heart set on Stump Smash coming back and then they're like, who do we want to do for Earth, type of a deal. Throw it out to the fans, man, and let people vote on it and just kind of get interaction, get, amp it up and have some big reveal deal. And I don't know, I think it would be a good idea and kind of get people involved in the off season of Skylanders, if you will. But once again, I really, really do hold out hope that we get, even if it's like Flame Slinger or Igniter, which I would absolutely love, as much as Sunburn makes the most sense. It's just that's kind of what I would personally like to see, so I'd take Fling Kong from the Air Element, but it's just I kind of Light and Dark, no, I don't think we should have elites of those guys, but the there's 8 traditional elements, you know. It's not like air and fire came along later. They were there in SSA. And I've yet to figure it out. So that's my little rant there. Again, I mention it because it's kind of my last chance to mention it in a standalone video. So if you agree with that, make some chatter. You know, throw up some conversations with Activision and their support people or something. Email them, call the numbers. Say, hey, you know, I want my air and fire elites, dang it. You know, and maybe it'll happen again. Extremely, extremely unlikely. That is nothing official. That's just me having pipe dreams once again. So... but I really would like to see it, and I think it would be a fun way for them, even from the developer standpoint, Toys for Bob, Vicarious. I think it would be interesting. Like, they could have office pools like March Madness. Like, oh, I think they're going to vote for, you know, Warnado because he ties in better here. And it's like, no, Lightning Rod was in the game, man. And I mean, I think it would be fun for everybody. So that's something I would like to see. Very unlikely, but you know, you gotta dream big. So. That said, main thing here, Slam Bam has arrived. We have, as weird as it is to say, all 6 of the elites for Skylanders Superchargers. So, again, for me personally, we've got Wave 3 here, Nightfalls, and a sack from GameStop over there. These are the characters I love the most. They're what got me started on the game, hooked on the game, and that I still remember fondly. That's why I prioritize with them. So, gonna go get this video edited, probably introduce some of these guys so I can start getting them some cash for upgrades, things of that nature. But if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, leave a comment, let me know your thoughts. Please vote in the poll. Again, it is free and easy. Don't have to be registered to vote. And if you don't want to elaborate on the forum by signing up on why you selected a pose, feel free to do it here in the comment section. Main thing, just please vote on the forum, because it really sucks to have to go back and read through comments and try to then add that into a poll somewhere. So that's at SkylanderClub.com. If you're super into Skylanders, you like all this in-depth discussion and historical stuff I go into on rants and rambles, that is the place to be. Check it out, my personal site, oneofweezem.com. You can follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook, circle me on Google+, whichever you prefer. Once again, thanks for watching, and as Slam Bam would say, stay armed and dangerous, and we will catch you back here next time.